For rights and obligations also, this is an intro that you can give, that mutual relations between partners of a firm come into existence through an agreement between the said partners. Only when we have agreed on it, after that only it would be binding. Like under contract act, there is a provision, right? Consensus ad idem. Consent makes it law. Only when you have consented, it can be binding on you, otherwise not. So same thing applies here also, that mutual relation between partners of a firm would come into existence only when they have agreed on that by way of an agreement, right? This gives rise to mutual rights and duties to every partner who are involved in that specific business. And we have sections 9 to sections 17 of Partnership Act that lays down certain provisions with regard to mutual relations between partners, and these relations are governed by existing contract among them, which may be implied or expressed when they are dealing with it. Every agreement may vary depending on consent of all the partners. Now, even though we have all these different rights and obligations, right? More than all these rights and obligations, what have they agreed in that specific contract, right? That would also matter a lot. So whatever they have agreed, whatever they have consented to, that also would be taken into consideration, and accordingly they would be made liable. Okay, so these were the rights that we had, 14 different types of rights, and then we have some obligations or duties as well. So what are these duties? First one is like a general duties what a partner would have if he is taking part in a partnership business. So first of all, general duties that he will be required to carry on business to the highest common advantage. He should be thinking about common benefit of all the partners, and accordingly he should carry on the business. Partner is required to be just and faithful to all the other partners, because it's not about their individual gain or individual loss, but rather it's about the partnership altogether. A partner has to render to any other partner or his legal representative about the true account of all the information of the things that are affecting the partnership business. Like we saw in case of rights also, if a partner has retired, if a partner has died, his widow or other representatives would be having like a share with regard to the profits that are made, unless and until accounts are made clear. So in those cases, right, partners would be having a duty or an obligation that they disclose the true accounts of the partnership to all those people, right, to whomever the person is liable, right, with regard to partnership. These are some general duties, again common things only, right, that they should be working for benefit of the partnership business and not for their individual gains, because it's a partnership. They are working for mutual benefit, its mutual agency is there, so they should be there. They should be just and faithful to other partners, and true accounts should be disclosed to the partners or their representatives for that matter. To indemnify for fraud, a partner of the partnership firm is liable to compensate the firm for any damages caused to its business or the firm because of a partner's fraud in case of conduct of business of the firm. If a person has himself, might be he was like because of his own fraud or something, he was involved in it, and because of that the partnership has suffered huge amount of loss, it would be a duty or an obligation on his part that he indemnify the partnership, right? So that would be with regard to fraud. If he himself was involved in fraud, as a result of that, other partners or the partnership business in total has sustained some injury or loss, he will be having this obligation to indemnify. Indemnify for willful neglect. This is with regard to fraud where it was intentional, and here it is willful neglect of the partner. A partner of partnership firm must compensate the partners for any damages or loss caused to it by willful neglect in the conduct of business of the firm. Might be you can say one partner, like even if they are partners, they all are equal, they would have their job roles and responsibilities divided in most of the cases, right? One partner may say that I'm very good in this field, I have skills in this field, so I would be taking care of this, right? Might be one may say that I am going to look after the recovery part, right? Recovery of money from our clients. In such a case, if someone was willfully negligent in performing his task, he had to recover a certain amount from a client and that was his sole responsibility, but he was simply neglecting it for a very long time. After that, might be limitation period to ask for recovery itself was over. In such a case, what will happen is that person will have an obligation to indemnify the partnership business because it was his sole responsibility to take care of the uh, recovery thing, right? And limitation was over because of his willful negligence only. So in such a case, he would have an obligation to indemnify the partnership business also. To attend duties diligently without remuneration. Now, partnership business is for benefit of all the partners. So if one partner has got some skills or some expertise on something, that person should put that thing into effect, right? He cannot say that I'm very carefully doing my duties with regard to this partnership business, so I should be getting extra paid for it or something like that. However, generally entitled to remuneration in partnership in conducting of the business, a partner is also bound to let his partners have advantage of his knowledge or skill, right? If you are investing your time and effort and everything, in general, partners would be getting remuneration. But might be there is a need that partnership business needs to might be file a complaint with regard to one of their clients, and one partner is having that skill or knowledge how to get a complaint registered. So in such a case, that person can come forward and say that, okay, fine, I'm getting the complaint registered, I'm getting the all the formalities just because I have this knowledge on how to proceed with such a complaint, right? In such small cases, right, the person should not be expecting extra remuneration for diligently doing something or for properly getting some work done, right? So this is to attend duties diligently without remuneration. Somewhere, if you are skilled enough, if you have got some skills, you can do that much of favor because it is again benefit of all the partners, and partners should be taking advantage of whatever knowledge or skill other partners are having. Obligation to share losses. If you are distributing profits equally, all the partners of partnership firm are also liable to compensate equally to the injury sustained by the firm. If it was like a partnership with regard to some tourism business, might be because of COVID, their business, they were not earning much profit, but rather they were suffering loss. In such a case, that also should be accordingly, right, equally shared by all the different partners that are there. To account for any profit. If a partner or partnership has derived some profit through a transaction of the firm or use of partnership firm or business in connection with the firm name, in such a case, that person should be doing it. Might be one of the partners have earned some profit, and that is not because of his own effort, own skill, or own name, but because he represented the partnership and he earned that profit, right? In such a case, that again should be equally distributed among partners, right? To account for any profit that partner has gained by use of the partnership firm's name or through their property, business, or other stuff, right? In such a case also, it should be profit of the partnership business and not profit of that specific individual partner as such. What happens is, if someone is earning profit by using name of the firm or with regard to its business, property, or something like that, that person will have to share those profits and also share it with the other friends also, because that is not his own personal gain, but rather it is with regard to the partnership business only. This part is it clear? General duties.
Yes, yeah.
Indemnify for fraud. So generally, it would be expected that they are working for mutual benefit. They are not taking their own advantage and other stuff. And they will also be legal representative about true accounts that it should be disclosed. They would indemnify if there is any fraud or because of their willful neglect, some loss is being suffered by partnership. They should not be expecting extra remuneration for whatever skill or knowledge they are having and they are making use of it in some specific sector. They need to share losses, as well as if in specific profit is earned by one of the partners, that also need to be accordingly like distributed. So this is like a conclusion for conclusion for rights and obligations. You can simply mention in a partnership, partners are free to form an agreement and decide the mutual rights and duties. Relation of partners in the partnership is of utmost good faith. Therefore, it is duty of every partner to work for benefit of the partnership firm and not for their individual interest. Mutual rights of the firm generally depend upon the agreement which they have signed between them, but there are certain rights which are conferred under the Partnership Act. And in case you have not specifically mentioned in the agreement what would be rights and obligations, court would assume that all the rights given under the act would be applicable to the partners, right? So these are the things that we have regarding rights and obligations. Yeah, so explain rights and obligations of a partnership form. So if they are asking both rights and obligations, you may not have time to write those 14 different types, right? And also they are asking for rights as well as obligations. So might be you can write some, like 6 for both of them based on the time that you have, right? You should not be writing there that, okay, fine, I'm writing 14 for rights and then I'm not having enough time. I have just written 2 duties. That should not be the case. It should be kind of equal only, right? So if you can manage time, you can write 6. If not, might be 4 or 5 also. Accordingly, those should be like equal number you should try to write. So this part is clear, right? Rights and obligations.
Yeah.